Gilda Carl. Hi, Dr. Gilda.
Hello,
And
Neil.
I
Hey.
know you already have something to say. The week starts off. Here we go, right?
Oh man, I hate seeing war. I hate seeing people going to going at it at each other. I just hate seeing this. I hate seeing raising your fists when I know at the base of everything, words count more than anything you do.
Mhm.
And words can prevent anything from happening if your words are well put together. So now we have rioters, call protesters or rioters, however you want to call them, in the streets of Minneapolis. We have their leadership not cooperative with the administration. And however this goes, right or wrong, it doesn't make a difference because it's already happened. And that will be argued in the courts. It makes a difference, of course, to dead people, but it doesn't make a difference as to what is going to happen next round. And the next round is, I just saw the headline, uh, President Trump had a productive meeting with Governor Walz, and they are trying to work something out. What that means in English, I have no idea. But the way the leadership handles this will determine what happens, A, in our country, B, with people who protest fiercely and in such an agitated way that it's no longer protest, it's simple protesting anymore. It's danger. It's really dangerous. And so that's A and B. And C, what happens with the population we're not hearing from? We're seeing what the news is showing us. We're seeing people acting horribly to each other, pushing, shoving, shooting. I mean, this is so bad. Throwing things at law enforcement. And we do know that Governor Walz and Mayor Fry have told ICE to get out of their city and actually out of their state. So, what is a leader to do? Forget about who the leader is, even. What is a leader to do when there's so much chaos? How does everybody, and I'm talking about everybody involved without picking sides, how does Trump, Walz, and Fry extricate themselves from this madness? But each one has to hold their heads up high to feel as though they have saved face. And in many cases, when you have this kind of interaction, it comes down to how are we going to save face for the future? And every side wants to save face. We spoke not too long ago about the fiasco going on at CBS. We talked about insubordination at CBS and what the leadership, Barry Weiss, was going to do. And again, I mean, this and the Minnesota situation, both of them could be case studies for HBR, Harvard Business Review, because they draw from so many different emotions and sides. And there is no one right side except peace. How do they get to peace? By each one saving face and each one looking like, appearing to be a winner in this because the future of how Minneapolis is governed and how uh, and how our government is going to go forth with ICE to do its job, to protect the citizens from the bad guys who are not doing good things to our population. So this now has evolved into something more than who's right, who's wrong, who got shot, who didn't get shot, who got hurt, who didn't get hurt, whose finger was bitten off, who was. I mean, this is so awful now. We are not hearing the rhetoric. And again, it's words over chaos. And it would be great. Remember when the ancients, um, the Indians, our native Indians, would pass around the peace pipe and everything was all solved. Well, wouldn't that be great if we could do that here? I do believe that a lot of people are being led and misled to do one thing or another thing because they're listening to their leaders. And I am concerned about the people who are not being heard, the people who are too afraid to open their mouths, the people who have to live amid all this chaos. It is unfair to them. It is unfair to their children. It is unfair to show children that the way out of a situation that you don't agree with is by fighting. That is not the case. Sun Tzu said it in The Art of War. Communication first before you go to anything else. And I'm afraid that nobody has been communicating in a calm and peaceful way that people can understand.
Very powerful what you're saying, Dr. Gilda, and it's true. Where it's leadership has to rise above everything at the end of the day, and
Both
both
sides of
sides of
leadership.
leadership need to, because if they're using this as a political stance to gain back power, it's going to fail in the voters box, especially not maybe the midterms, but in when the presidential
Well,
election
maybe
happens.
it will be in the midterms. Maybe it will be in the next the next elections that we see. I don't know how this is going to manifest, but right now, we cannot afford to be in a situation that is so chaotic and so impossible to hear words that people are using. It doesn't make any sense to keep this craziness going. And yet there are factions on the side of the rioters who love this. And I always say, why are those people out working? Why are those people at home with their children? Why aren't those people sitting down at a table with somebody to find solutions? Unless they are so bored with their lives that they have to have chaos going on in all corners of their lives. And there are people who are drama junkies, who love the drama and live for the drama. This is not healthy. This is not a role model to show our children, and it's gotten out of hand. So the latest news is that Tom Homan, who says he likes these people in Minneapolis, Tom Homan is going in now to see what he can do. And it's
Mm.
interesting that Kristi Noem, and this is one of the headlines, Kristi Noem was not selected to do the bidding for this. It went to directly to Tom Homan. Now you could say, well, maybe because he's a man, maybe because he's a strong man, maybe because he's not a woman, maybe who knows what. But this is a new voice and a new face because we've seen the other voices and we've seen the other faces. This may be a wise selection on the part of President Trump. I don't know. I don't know how this is going to go down. But we cannot continue to live amid chaos.
All right. drgilda.com, right? Dr. Gilda, this is great conversation, great points you're making. And we just need leadership. And I
And you
think,
notice, Neil, I didn't take any sides. I
mm,
have I have no skin in this game. And I didn't take sides on the part of the administration, on the part of the people who are writing. I do know that there are paid agitators in that group.
Right.
And I don't like the sound of that. I wouldn't like the sound of that if they were in my home. People who were paid to do something that they don't believe in their heart. I don't like that at all. And that has to be stopped. So I'm not taking any sides. I'm saying as a professor of business teaching MBA courses, I want to see how the leadership manifests their next steps because this too ought to be studied in our graduate schools, in our business schools, to make sure this never happens again to such an extreme where people are hurt.
All right. That was a special simulcast of the Neil Hay Show and the Gilda Graham podcast, guys. Take care.